All right. Happy 1st of July, everyone. My wedding anniversary date and something else happens on July 4th of July. Last week, I did something I haven't done in over a year, and that was go to a movie theater and see a movie. And that movie was Fast and Furious 9. It was a good movie. They've went in a different direction since the early days of the Fast and Furious movies, but that doesn't make it bad. Just different. But in the spirit of going and seeing that movie, it reminded me of a movie from the early days. And that movie was a movie called No Man's Land. So No Man's Land was a 1987 smash hit. In this movie, the main guy ends up going undercover in the car world, which may sound a little familiar. And so that made me start thinking about another movie, a little movie called Fast and Furious 1, circa 2001, the original, the starter of it all, the first Fast and Furious movie. And it got me thinking about Fast and Furious versus No Man's Land. In the world we live in, nothing that we do is brand new. Everything has been done for the most part. So there are going to be some similarities between certain storytelling, movie aspects that we see. Hollywood does it all the time. For instance, if you've ever seen the movie Avatar versus Pocahontas, or there was a time there one year where a movie came out called Friends with Benefits, and then another movie came out called No Strings Attached. And I get these movies mixed up all the time because they're basically the same movie. All the way to even shows like How I Met Your Mother and Friends. There's crazy parallels. So today in this video, I wanted to go over some of the scary parallels between The Fast and Furious from 2001 and No Man's Land in 1987. So I looked around online and couldn't find much comparing these two films. I found a random blog post from years ago. I believe it was around the time Fast 5 came out, but it was comparing these two movies. So I've never seen this done in video content, so let's go for a ride. So first of all, I want to talk about the characters in No Man's Land versus Fast and Furious. So main character, we have undercover cop Brian Earl Spillner / Brian O'Connor, played by Paul Walker. So that's Paul Walker as the main protagonist. Then No Man's Land, we have D.B. Sweeney playing Benji, aka Bill. Bill is his undercover name. Benji is his real name. Paul Walker is Brian Spillner, undercover name. Brian O'Connor, real name. And you may recognize D.B. Sweeney from such movies as The Cutting Edge or The Cutting Edge, because that's the only movie I'd ever seen where I recognized this guy. But I'm sure he's been in a lot of stuff. It was the 80s. I was kind of busy being born. But then we have the main protagonist / antagonist, person you don't know. So for Fast and Furious, we have Dom Toretto, played by Vin Diesel. No Man's Land, we have Ted Varick, played by Charlie Sheen. Alright. This is that character that's the bad boy, the one that's you don't know whether to root for, you want to like him, but then this is where it starts getting a little scary. You got the main protagonist, antagonist's sister, which is Mia in Fast and Furious, and in No Man's Land, it's Anne Varick, which is the brother or the sister of the main protagonist, antagonist, Charlie Sheen. Then you go down even a little further, and then you have the not quirky, but just I don't know, just kind of a hard A lieutenant. That's the guy in charge of the undercover guy. So we have Lieutenant Tanner in Fast and Furious. In No Man's Land, we have Lieutenant Vincent Bracey, which is played by none other than Randy Quaid. You may recognize him from a Vacation or two. So anyway, there were some more characters that kind of like could parallel, but these were the main ones. So moving on from the characters, we got to talk about the story. All right. So what draws you into both of these movies are the cars. In Fast and Furious, we have all these 90s Japanese sports cars with a couple of muscle cars thrown in. In No Man's Land, it is nearly straight Porsches. There's a couple of cool cameos from other car manufacturers. There's a really cool Ferrari, and Charlie Sheen says they're trying to decide what car to steal, and Charlie Sheen says it was Italian garbage. So there's some really cool shots of some cars from that era, from the late 80s. I'm even seeing cool old Toyota MR2s, cool things like that. But moving on. So the story, it drew us in with cars. Both main characters, are undercover cops, younger guys who can blend into the world. Well, Paul Walker, it is the straight street racing world, while with, we'll call him Bill, because that's the way I remember him from the movie. Bill, it is the German sports car world, the Porsche world. So he comes in as a mechanic to try to infiltrate that world. So Paul Walker gets in by losing a street race, but stepping up and trying to race. Well, Bill gets in by helping Charlie Sheen out with his broke down Porsche. So both characters get into that world, and then both characters also fall in love with the main protagonist's sister. So No Man's Land, we got Bill falling in love with Anne. Fast and Furious, we have Paul Walker falling in love with Mia, Dom's sister. So that's where they both parallel. Well, then moving down from there, we got the lieutenant that is constantly on the undercover protagonist's case. So there's even a line from each one where in Fast and Furious he says,
"Knock it off! What, are you going native on me, Brian?"
In No Man's Land, I'm pretty sure he says almost the same thing, where he says,
"Close to him. Just don't go native on me, all right?" What's that supposed to mean?
We have both guys that end up befriending the main guy, and both main characters deny, or want to deny, that their newly made friend could possibly be the official bad guy. But in both movies, it turns out to be that way. In Fast and Furious, Dom ends up being the one hijacking the trucks, stealing the electronics. In No Man's Land, it turns out to be Charlie Sheen stealing the Porsches and murdering the people. So that brings me to my last point. My main point is that as much as these two movies parallel, this is where they really start changing. So, and spoiler alert if you haven't seen No Man's Land, but there's a lot more people getting killed in No Man's Land. So the final scene of both of these movies are pretty epic in different ways. Fast and Furious, you have the final car race between the Supra, the Charger, epic ending. The Charger wrecks, Brian hands the keys to Dom. He drives away into the sunset. Everybody knows it's been cliched a few times, and so he let the guy go. In No Man's Land, Charlie Sheen, the main character, Ted, he realizes that Bill is a cop and that he's undercover. So, but before the final scene, Charlie Sheen straight up murders the Randy Quaid, the lieutenant of Bill, the undercover guy in this movie. So you kind of got Bill, who really liked his lieutenant, is really upset at Charlie Sheen, and then Charlie Sheen knows Bill is an undercover cop at this point. So they kind of just say, "Hey, let's go get that rush. Let's go get one more Porsche, or let's go find another one." So they go to a parking garage and they find this Porsche they're gonna steal, and then you realize pretty quickly that both characters kind of know that the other one knows. But the big finale in No Man's Land is that they straight up gun each other down. Everybody gets shot. I'm pretty sure Bill lives, but Charlie Sheen gets shot like in the face. So the movie's ended a little bit differently, but I just wanted to make this video to kind of compare the two, just because it was so fun looking at the parallels between this. And I remember it wasn't 1987 when I saw No Man's Land, but it was earlier, and so I just wanted to share with the world the similarities between these two movies, and I hope you got a big kick out of this video. And if you haven't seen No Man's Land, it's a fun watch. If you're into watching any of those late 80s movies, it goes really right along there with that style of filmmaking, like Gremlins or Goonies or anything like that. So anyway, thanks for watching. I hope this video was entertaining to you, and I will see you on the 15th. Thanks for sticking with me. We made it 6 months so far. This is going into the 7 months. I'm probably going to do some kind of 6-month or halfway type celebration video for my next video, but who knows? Like I said back in January, you don't know what you're going to get. But remember, new videos 1st and 15th every month. All right. I love you. Bye.